What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Popcorn Punchups, the podcast that we throw a shade at each other for movie picks, and we try and get each other to like our things we pick better. So we are joined by, I'm going to say co-host because I'm taking priority. I don't know why.
Yeah, co-host makes it sound like we're not equal. I'll be honest.
I know that's why I was like, I don't know. So I don't know. I'm just throwing shade at you. So
fuck you.
In my mind.
So you're the co-host.
Yeah. Maybe I am. Maybe RTV will change to LTV. Lawson TV.
That's my theme tune.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Told you I'm in a mood. So Lawson is the man that scrolls the internet for the most art house things ever and wants to only watch movies that have a message or have subtext that are like, oh, look how good we are. Oh, look how bad society is. Oh, why can't we just be superheroes and beat things up? So, you know, look at him. Look at that. He's going to get a moustache that twirls around and he's going to walk with an umbrella just because he looks cool. Or walking cane. I'm trying to think of the guy that walks with a walking cane, but I can't at the moment. He's in one of the superhero sort of secret hero-y films, but I can't remember what it is. So I don't know. That's where we're at. So yeah.
Cool. And Reimann's an idiot.
Yeah, we actually can tell.
Yeah, that's my intro to you.
Sometimes I have moments of brilliance, but you would never know what's coming.
Moments of brilliance. That's what's not coming.
Life's a box of ramen. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yep.
But on my tombstone, I had Reimann blazing a trail. No, Reimann blazing. I don't know. See, that was the moment of brilliance, and now I've butchered it again. I don't know.
It's somewhere
on my
in
tombstone.
Here. Yeah, it doesn't. So, you said it doesn't even get a tidbit of thought. I just move. I said that's what needs to go on your tombstone. Nothing gets any thought, just movement.
Yeah.
Blazing a path, Reimann. He moved before he thought, and his friends helped him along the way.
Stoic.
With no punctuation.
No. So, don't need it. I'm a man that moves.
No, it's too easy moving to punctuate.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a week. The hot weather gets me. But do you know what has definitely been coming out? Is coming out soon. It's coming in April, and I am so keen for it. It's one of the most exciting things that I have been excited for in a long time. And I'm super excited for it. It is one of my favorite gaming franchises, Devil May Cry, Netflix animation.
Right. Yeah. I did see that you did a video on it. I haven't watched it yet, but I will.
Yeah. Do you know who the soundtrack they cut in? So think in peak early 2000s where they were doing anime AMVs. Of
course, yeah.
Yeah, this is cut like a anime AMV. It is so good.
I'm down with that. It's nostalgic.
But guess what the song is?
Nickelback. I don't know.
Nah. Papa Roach.
Oh wow.
Last Resort.
Yeah.
It's so good. But it's not like just thrown in there where it's like it's not just the backing track and they just let it play out. It's actually cut into like moments. It's actually so good.
Okay.
It's actually
Devil May Cry it gets away with a lot because it's so campy and silly and the writing is always so poor and it's all to its credit. So hey, I'm down for it.
And they lean into it. So obviously we're following Dante. It seems to be set. It's not meant to be canon, but I don't know. I feel like they're trying to introduce some of Devil May Cry 3. So I'm not sure if you played Devil May Cry 3. It was like the prequel.
Back in the day, but I remember no story.
Yeah, it was like super difficult, and then they had to re-release it with an easier version.
Yeah.
But this was like telling of Dante and Virgil. Virgil's the brother, so it was like the conflict they have, and then you end it with like the big showdown on top of the roof and stuff. Oh my god, it's going to be magical. So I kind of want to spoil it because I'm super excited about it. So if you played number 5, you would have saw Dante actually got motorbike as a sword. So he his motorbike like split in two, and he started hacking and slashing people with his motorbike. So it would like spin and like just shoot people. It was so fun. But we do get to see him use the motorbike as a blade. We get to see Virgil as well. Oh, I'm so keen for it. We're gonna do it. Yeah. And
I don't remember any story. Like of the games that I played 3, maybe it was 5. You played someone different in 5, didn't you?
5 you played multiple people. So 4 was the first one where you got to like play the different characters when Nero got introduced. And Nero, if you want, like had the part demon, so you had the demon hand where you could like grab stuff. 4 was sick. But it had a lot of backlash because you weren't playing as Dante, because normally you play as Dante in 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Yeah.
I reckon I played 3, 4, and 5. Not all the way through, but they all do look familiar.
Yeah.
But I remember no story. Like, they're not the sort of games that I played for story and lore. I just play it because it's dumb action and the combat's pretty fun. It's like Bayonetta.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. Yeah. But 4 still gives me goosebumps with Kyrie and Nero, when Nero needs more power to save Kyrie. That's like my peak action moments, is when it's like they need extra power to save people. Oh, that's why like every shoujoun anime is like gives me goosebumps.
The spirit bombs will give you a hard on.
Oh, mate. Mate. That's fair. Getting the strength to like save people. Oh, yep. No, I'm in for every. It's the embodiment of me, of my soul. Yeah. And like, yeah. And
people always talk about voice. People always talk about like if you could be any character or any TV show inside anything, whatever. Mine's always Pokemon, because Pokemon's fucking so fun. But you'd be a Saiyan. If you could pick anything, you'd be a Saiyan.
Sounds pretty good. Even a Soul Reaper. Like, I'm really into Bleach again, because Bleach, unfortunately, Bleach is so good. Like, guess the connection between Devil May Cry and Bleach.
I'm guessing the voice actor of Ichigo
and Power Rangers. Yeah. Johnny Boosh. Yeah, he's back.
You love him.
Oh, he's so good. I love his voice lines. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just so good.
Yeah,
I am so keen for it.
I'm glad you're keen for it. That's good. That's good news.
Yeah. As you can
tell.
Is
there a release date set or anything? Or they just
April 3rd.
Oh, it's pretty soon. It's like less than a month.
Yep. Also released today as well is a Disney remake, which was Lilo and Stitch. Not released, but the trailer was released.
I did watch that one. Yep.
It actually looks pretty good. I'm actually kind of excited for that one. It's better than the Snow White travesty.
Exactly. I'm more excited for that. Yeah, I mean, there's not been a single remake that I've been even remotely like, yeah, it looks okay. This is the first one that's like, yeah, it looks okay. It doesn't look good, but it looks...
I think they've got the essence of Lilo and Stitch. Like, Lilo and Stitch was just that silly, like, family bond. Like, he was the fish out of water, them trying to pass him off as a dog with the silly comedy and stuff. So
there are some things I like, some things I don't. Like, Bubbles... the way I picture him is not how he comes. Like, you know, animated Bubbles look so different to. I don't know why isn't Ving Rhames playing Bubbles?
I don't know.
Pleakley doesn't look quite right, but you know, again, out of the grand scale, it does look good. It doesn't look great, I should say, but it looks good.
That's fair.
Even though the first teaser came out, I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Like, that's, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, they've gone with a less known cast as well for this one. So like a lot of the cast is you wouldn't be able to pick them from a lineup. So I'm not fussed about that. Let's see what they can do.
I'm glad that that Callum Drift isn't in it. That makes me happy.
Callum Drift.
Oh, that was an old podcast joke. New podcast listeners, if you're here without listening to Movie Talks, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is now known as Callum Drift because of his awful fucking movie Red One. Yeah. That was Callum Drift. So from now on, he is forever known to me as Callum Drift. It is the most ridiculous name ever.
And then Seth Rogen's got a new one coming up on Apple TV. It's called The Studio. It actually looks pretty reasonable. It's like more of he's a studio, a person who's trying to like create movies and stuff, and him coming up. It's kind of like a movie about behind the scenes of movies. Doesn't look too bad. Looks reasonably interesting. I got to say, Apple TV are kicking goals with most of their stuff, though.
They're like very consistent.
Yeah. I think because they don't like pump out as much as everyone else.
I was about to say, I think it's because they're more selective with who they agree to do stuff with, whereas Netflix is just Blumhouse at this point, throw shit at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, pretty much. Thunderbolt's got a new trailer, which actually looks really fun. It looks like they're capturing the humor and the essence of Marvel again. My only issue is with the Sentinel, who's the baddie. He's like super overpowered. He's kind of like the villain Superman, but he's able to turn people into like dust just by like clicking it. Not even clicking his fingers, because that was Thanos, but like pointing at him and they turn into dust. Like, I just don't quite understand how they're going to beat him. And if they beat him by like the power of friendship, I'm going to be pretty annoyed about
Power
that.
of anime.
Yeah.
It's called Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt.
The superhero.
Which is pretty... Yeah, it's Marvel's like Suicide Squad.
Ah.
Yeah.
I won't lie. First thing I thought of was the fucking dog movie, Bolt.
I don't quite like that.
That's a pretty fun movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, Snow White got a new trailer out. It looks shocking. Apparently, they're going to delay it though, because there is Gal Gadot and Rachel. I want to say Zinger, but I don't know if that's actually her last name. There's some controversy or clashes with them about the film, so I don't know if they're going to delay it. I did see a little bit here and there.
I didn't see anything about that, but
it was only today.
Sure.
Who knows?
Are they? I have no idea who's even acting in it. Are they the main actors?
Yeah, so Gal is one who played Wonder Woman in all the DC newest films. She plays the evil witch.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then
Rachel
Rachel
Zegler,
is Snow White.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I told you it wasn't Zinger.
Zinger Burger.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah. I don't know how the mirror is going to like pass up on her though. Ooh.
But it's not about the hottest; it's the fairest.
Yeah, she wins everything. And then the weirdest announcement that I saw earlier this week was a anime adaptation, but this one is so bizarre. So the manga actually got cancelled at chapter 20 or 19, and then they were like, "Yeah, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to make an anime adaptation out of this." Like, you don't even have much source material. You got source material for maybe a season, like 20 chapters.
You didn't need a manga to look at fucking Last Airbender and shit. Like, they didn't have anything to base off of. They were just animation.
I thought they had the books.
No, they made it up. There was two guys. One worked on Invader Zim and one worked on.
You sure? I'm pretty sure there was books about it.
Oh, two guys wrote it. They took it to Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon's like, we want a show that can be like an adventure show with blah, blah, and they had like 30 days to write it, and they did.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, whatever. I just thought it was a weird announcement. Like, you've gone, here's the source material. The name of it. It's a manga. It's called Black Torch. It got cancelled at chapter 19 or 20, and then they're just going to be like, yep, we're picking this up for an anime adaptation. Just seemed like a weird choice to do. But who knows?
Could be fucking awesome. Could
be. And then also we had, I'm not sure if we talked about it last week, but I spoke to you about it. Nicolas Cage's newest film, which is called The Gunslinger. I don't even think he's the main lead in it, but he's like the face. He's the face of it.
Of course, it's similar to like Renfield, where the selling point is Nicolas Cage as Dracula, regardless of how long he's in it for. Yeah,
the trailer looks nuts.
His voice is so fucked.
He like grunts.
Yeah, it's like majority of it. Like this grunt wheeze sort of sound.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be really bizarre.
Gunslingers, it's called.
So I don't know.
So
it's going to be weird.
No idea. It's by a guy called Brian Skiba. And Brian Skiba has done fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Like, not a single one of his movies is higher than a 5. Oh no, 5.7, which is a TV movie, so that doesn't count. And then Guns of Redemption, which got a 7.5, so that got a good fucking rating. Everything else is hot garbage. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Seems like a weird mix of people throwing out this movie, but almost sounds like a Netflix movie. Is it? No.
Yeah, who knows? There's not much on this one yet, but Edgar Wright's getting a new movie. It's called The Running Man, and he reckons it's going to be a very intense, dangerous road movie. That's what he reckons. There's not much news on it yet.
Road movie?
Yeah. So he's direct quote.
movie?
I'm assuming it's like on the road, kind of like a traveling. I don't know. He just says it's going to be a very intense, dangerous road movie. Edgar Wright. It's kind of like Baby Driver, but more intense, I guess.
Okay.
Mm.
Hey, look, I'll
Who knows?
fucking watch anything he makes.
Yeah. Yeah. Normally they're pretty good. Little things annoy me, but who knows?
His name's
Who-
Baby, and that's not good.
It's not. It's shit.
It's
But we.
not.
Last two bits of news. These are pretty new, but Stephen King is getting another Netflix series adaptation, and
Of
it
course.
is Cujo, obviously the dog that goes nuts and kills people.
Right.
You know that one.
Nope.
Okay, well, it's pretty famous. And then
The name rings a bell.
Yeah. Mm,
I'm so sick of
It's a dog.
Stephen King fucking adaptations and that being a selling point. Like, I know I literally reviewed Monkey last week and I gave it a 3, but
yeah.
it went far away from. I don't know. It's sick of it being a selling point. I'll talk more about that actually when we get to Mickey 17. But yeah, I'm just so sick of that being a fucking
Yeah.
an easy way of making a movie. Go over Stephen King novella with like a 1,000-word story that he wrote and turning into a fucking hour-and-a-half movie.
Yeah, fair. And then with last one, we have Tom Hardy's new film, which is called Havoc. Apparently, it is meant to be. People are saying it's a martial arts film, but they're saying no, it's not a martial arts film. They're like it's more just a bullet film in terms of like bullet storm, like that over the top, ridiculous
right.
gunfight sort of style. So,
Okay.
yeah, I like Tom Hardy. I mean, he's pretty good, but I haven't
Yeah, I like
seen
Tom
him
Hardy
in
as well.
haven't seen him in a super serious movie for a while.
I mean, not really. I was picturing like Peaky Blinders, but it's a TV show.
The
so
last ones I've seen him in is Venom.
Venom. Yeah.
Venom. I think he did really well in the
Yeah.
first one, and then I think they lost
I
their
don't
way a
think
little bit.
it's his fault that Venom is
No,
fucking
no.
stupid.
No, the first one was
But
cool.
it knows what it's doing. It's not trying to be anything super special.
No. They did Carnage a little bit dirty in the second one, but Woody Harrelson did amazing as Carnage. Carnage
Yeah.
is sick. Yeah.
Havoc has a good cast.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
Timothy Oliphant, who I like, Forrest Whitaker, who I like, Richard Harrington, decent, Louise Guzman. Okay. This comes out April as well, April 25th.
April's going to be a big month, I reckon. Even the end
Few
of
things,
March
yeah.
is going to be pretty big. So lots are coming out the 20th onwards of March, which look pretty good as well.
Who's going to pick Snow White and tank the score? Whoever picks it knows they're going to lose that week, you know? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
that's fair.
Oh, well.
So last week Lawson's won 2, I've won
Yep.
1, and then last week we had a draw. Lawson spent lots of time last night doing a spreadsheet that does the
Pretty special.
averages.
Yep.
Yeah, so we said if we get a draw, we end up taking the winner for count back, kind of like high jump. So our rules are best of 7 and then count back because we're throwing in different sports. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
Countback's good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you do get to a countback, I'm currently on a 3.3 average and you're on a 2.8 average. Meaning none of us have picked really well this go ahead.
I don't think that's our fault. I don't think that's our fault. I think
No.
it's the Hollywood's fault.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
children who are wrong.
Take that, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well then, seeing that we had a draw, who went first last week? I think I did.
I did. So Daredevil goes
You
first
did.
this week.
All right, here we go. On the Ryman pick of the week. I've been super excited for this one. I did reaction videos on it. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm a big superhero fan, so this is definitely right up my alley. I was pumping it up to Lawson, especially when it got announced, saying that Matt Murdock was coming back. Lawson was like, "Yo, who's Matt Murdock?" And I was like, "Ha, you didn't You didn't see that coming, and he didn't get the joke because Matt Murdock's
I don't know who Matt Murdock was. Yep. Now I
Yeah.
do, and the joke's
Now
still
you
unfunny.
do. Still not. Still not. But this is Disney getting back the rights to Daredevil because Netflix had their run of when Netflix were like the only streaming service. They were like, hey, Marvel, let's do a few I don't want to say unpopular, but like not as well known superheroes. So they did Jessica Jones, I think was the first one.
Yeah.
And the first season of Jessica Jones was incredible.
Great.
We
because
both loved
of
that.
one actor who wasn't in it later than that.
Yeah, so he played the bad guy, and David Tennant.
Yeah.
Who is also a fantastic Doctor who is probably my favourite Doctor. I've got 3 favourite Doctors.
I think it's most people's favourite from what I've heard.
Yeah, like he was great. Matt Smith was incredible as well.
Of course.
And the new guy, I actually really like him. When they first cast him, I was like, oh, this is going to be different. And he is super charismatic and takes up the
he's so good in Sex Education. Like I can see as soon as he was announced, I didn't even like Doctor Who, and I was excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is really good, and the companion they got for him as well is a really good offsider for him as well. So they complement each other really well. But we're not here to talk about Doctor Who. I do love Doctor Who as well. We're here to talk about Daredevil. So Jessica Jones was the first one. Then they did Luke Cage. Luke Cage I didn't like much. I was like,
I didn't mind it. It was like a 3.
Yeah, but I didn't like it as much. I think it was the setting and the culture. I didn't quite understand what Luke was going through in terms of his superhero. Like he was super strong and stuff. But I was like, you're not really embodying the superhero that I want. Then they did Iron Fist as well. I liked Iron Fist. Iron Fist actually copped a lot of flack. But Iron Fist for me was kind of fun and just cheesy. And then they did Then they did Daredevil as well. Daredevil was the longest running one, so that had 3 seasons. And then they did Defenders as well, which was another offshoot where they all came together.
Mm-hmm.
So Daredevil was the most popular one from all of them because Daredevil was actually really well made on Netflix as well. It actually, each season was built up, and you had your main cast. Obviously, you had Matt Murdock. And then you had Fogarty, who's like the offsider. You had Wilson Fisk, who is Kingpin, and he's the big bad. He's awesome. So
he's a cool bad guy.
He reminds me a lot of Doc Ock. Like you understand his motives. It's just the way that he goes about it. It's like, okay, you don't quite agree with it, but you understand why he's doing it. And they're like, that's the perfect kind of bad guy. Like that's what you want.
Yeah.
Like Thanos has that as well. Like you understand his motives. You don't agree with it, but you also like, that's pretty. Yeah. And then you also have Heather as well in this. And then, they had Punisher as well. I forgot Punisher. Netflix had Punisher.
That's right. He was in Daredevil as well, hey?
Yep, so he was an appearance in that. Do you know Punisher was only meant to be a throwaway character, but because his appearance in the comic was so well received and people were like, this guy's cool, he actually got his own series. I thought that was kind of cool.
Who did he appear in first with? What comic was he first appeared in?
Did know this. I'm drawing a blank now. But
relevant, it's fine.
I can't remember, but I do remember he was a throwaway character and then got his own. Sometimes that's kind of cool though. Like they're just a throwaway character and bang, they're a
Amazing Spider-Man at 129's first appearance of the Punisher.
There you go. It's kind of cool. Yeah. So this Daredevil Born Again is meant to allow people to come into the franchise without knowing anything, but I think you miss heaps if you do not already know either A, the comic books, or B, the Netflix series, because it pretty much picks up where season 3 left off, because season 3 introduces a super big showdown with Daredevil, Kingpin, and the introduction of Bullseye. So Bullseye technically it goes through like the transformation. In the comics they did change him a little bit, but in the comics he has a huge fall and then breaks his spine and then gets experimented on, and then that's how he comes back and he becomes Bullseye, who's like the greatest adversary of Daredevils. And then season 3 of the Netflix show had that super big confrontation, because it was season 3 was about Daredevil becoming the man without fear, and then having the super big confrontation of Kingpin or getting out of jail and then doing his big bad, sort of like, I'm going to take over. And then there was a 3-way battle between Bullseye, Daredevil and Kingpin, and then they convinced Kingpin to actually go back into jail, so they were able to get through him after a massive fight. And then there's a whole big hoorah, which you kind of miss, and that's why, like, in a lot of in the 2 episodes, you get to see people sort of know who's who, and you get some reveals, like Kingpin knows Matt Murdock is Daredevil as well.
Yeah, he finds that out in season 3 or something, or is that actually in Defenders? I think it's a different show.
It's in one of
them. After I watched episode 1, I was like, okay, there's so many people I don't know in this. I need some context. So I watched everything you need to know before you watch Born Again, Screen Crush video, and they explain it. All this is ringing bells now because I remember this much. Yeah.
So they're the main key points. You do know that Fogarty does know, and also Heather knows that Matt is Daredevil.
Yeah.
So they do know. We are first introduced to like them just going about their day. Matt is obviously running his own law firm. They're in a bar, and the first major scene, which I'm a little bit annoyed about, because the first intro scene, first episode, I was like, I feel like you should have built this up a little bit more before you've gone into like a major pivotal moment where I was like, whoa, okay. Well, it did, because most of the people
everything.
Like if you're coming in this fresh, you're going to miss out on so much context. But to have this happen to a major character, it was like, whoa, if I'm coming into this doesn't make that much sense to me about the impact this is actually going to have on him. Because that was like, I got emotional because I'm super invested, and I was like, this is insane. Like, I've just spent 3 seasons with you going, this is like your offside of your best friend, and then all of a sudden,
Princeton's college,
that like kicks off. So they jumped ahead a little bit, but they're in a bar, cold opening, sort of. They're just going about their day-to-day business, and then all of a sudden, there's 2 cops that are off duty having a chat, and they're talking about them being the thin blue line instead of the blue line. So they're saying that the vigilantes are like pretty much dealing with everything. Everyone sort of loves the vigilantes, and they make a pivotal comment about vigilantes are either arseholes that want the fame and recognition, or just to beat people up, or they're actually really good people. So it's like those two outliners. There's no sort of like in between. And then you get the introduction to Bullseye, who just comes in, and we actually see him shoot Fogarty. And I was like, you can't be serious. Fogarty is
throw a knife.
Throws a knife, shoots. He's the target.
Shoot anyone.
No, that's true. But I was like, that's insane. Like, how can you have such an important character just die in the first episode? I was like, that's insane. But like, to its credit, we have this fight scene, which was, I feel like it was CGI, a lot of it. Like, I was like, this is bizarre. Like, some of it looks CGI. I did like the transitions where they're cutting across, the doors slam, they fly through the doors.
Yeah.
A few times it did look CGI. Like, Daredevil has always been really good with its fight scenes. So season 1, it was the first one to really do like silhouette fights. But then it was like, I'm tired of the silhouette fights. I actually want to see the actual fight go down.
I love their hallways as well.
Yeah. So they love that. They love pulling the focus. They love doing the perspective fights and pulling out into different areas. They love the multiple levels, so they fight all the way up. Really, really good transitions going all the way up, seeing the back and forth and just seeing like them fighting to exhaustion. This isn't like some of the fight scenes in other Marvel films are like they fight for 5 minutes non-stop and they're not even puffing or tired or injured. This actually felt more like realistic. Like they were fighting up the stairs and like they're limping, they're dragging, and it's like you can see the desperation and like the.
Except for Daredevil had like 6 knives sticking out of him and he's still going hard. But he was definitely feeling it. You could see that, you know, he was exhausted. They're both exhausted. The way they were walking up the stairs and
they were in his suit though, so his suit is reinforced. So like they're stuck into his suit. They're not actually stuck into like into the body of him. Yeah, so I think that happens in
his flesh.
Season 2 or season 3, like he gets a proper suit because normally he was just wearing like a black jumper and the bandana
over his head.
Yeah, so he does actually get a proper like Kevlar suit, so it would stop like bullets and stuff. Like he still feels the impact, but it's like he doesn't get it into the vital organs or the flesh and stuff. So yeah, so that's why you saw like the knives still stuck into it, but you saw him like clawing around and stuff to the point where they fight all the way up, and then he sees Fogarty like laying down dead, and then he absolutely snaps. I was like, this is incredible. I've never seen him like lose complete control. Like I thought they handled the situation really well. I just thought the build up to having a main character die wasn't big enough. It was just like, oh, here we go again, bang, and then he's dead. But the dealing with the emotional turmoil that he was going through, and you saw him like snap, throw him off the building, and I was like, no way, you've just like thrown a bloke off the building. Normally you like just leave him maimed.
Well, he won't kill. Even in, like, he was taken to the guy who killed his parents, is that right? And he didn't kill them, and then he was put in a position to where he had to kill Fisk and he wouldn't kill him. Like his whole thing is that he doesn't kill people. Yeah.
And then he snapped and threw him off the building, which kind of wish he died. Kind of wish he died.
Yeah,
but then
I know.
He wouldn't have.
But then he's a pivotal character.
Yeah.
And he's not even Bullseye yet. He's still just Poindexter.
Such a dumb name.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, I'd be mad too if my name was Poindexter.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah.
I get pretty good at throwing stuff too.
Right. But that whole scene with him on the rooftop, the fight scene, absolutely incredible. Loved it.
Good,
I loved the emotional
I did love
turmoil.
The fight downstairs where Foggy gets stabbed. But like you mentioned before, there's this really long take where there must be some CGI in between, because I doubt you'd be able to choreograph all that, but maybe, where the camera starts back and it zooms through a door, then it comes back out and it's like tracking back through another broken door, and the choreography is pretty crazy. Like there's a lot of attention spent on the fights in this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was just to bring up last week again, that's sort of when I talk about like good action versus just trash action. You know, things like that where they put some effort into it. There's choreography, there's attention to detail, versus what we saw last week with fucking Fight or Flight, where it's just throw some CGI blood at it. You know what I mean?
Very different forms of entertainment, though.
Yes. But this is what I'm saying. This is good action, even for someone who doesn't like action.
Yeah. And then so Matt dropping the mask, like symbolizing, like, that's it. I'm done with like Daredevil.
Yeah.
And then even the retired cop that comes up and is like, Matt. I was like, oh, okay. You're just exposing a lot of things here. And then we get a little bit of time pass in episode 2 of like Daredevil going missing. Like he's done with it. He's dealing with what he can, becoming the lawyer. We get another vigilante, which I wasn't expecting. I know they filmed this earlier,
you skipped,
but
like all episode 1. You've skipped 40 minutes episode 1.
Yeah, I'm just going into parts that I was like, oh my god.
Okay, it's fine. Keep going.
Yeah. And then we also get introduced to the White Tiger, which I was like, oh, that's a bizarre choice, because the White Tiger gets introduced in the comics as well, but the guy that plays the White Tiger actually died after filming, so he is unable to like obviously reprise his role. But in the comics, he actually passes that on to his niece from memory. So his niece actually becomes, it's not the White Tiger, but the new White Tiger or whatever it is. So they become the new vigilante that roams around as well. So the White Tiger gets its power from the amulet. So we do see, I think it's in season 2, we get to see a number of powers that come from amulets in Daredevil as well. Or I think that was Defenders. One of those joining ones, we got to see one of the powers that happened from the amulets. I can't remember exactly which one. But yeah, so we get to see him. He is like going about his day-to-day business, sees 2 guys hassling another guy down at a train station, and then like runs to the aid of the other person. They get in a scuffle. One of the cops takes a big haymaker swing, misses, flies into a train. Turns out they were undercover cops. And I was like, there's no way they're gonna deal with this in this way. Like, I didn't see this coming, but there's a big confrontation later on, and those same cops are trying to get rid of the witness. So they like the other guys in witness protection because Matt's going to represent the White Tiger, but they don't know he's the White Tiger at that point in time. Yeah. And then Matt obviously works it out because he has super hearing and can work everything out because he's super intelligent. But they go to the guy that they were like hustling with. And then we see on his wrist is the Punisher logo. And I was like, no way, they're going to expand on that. But I guess that's a good way to bring the Punisher into it as well. I was like, whoa. And then the fight scene in there as well, seeing Matt just absolutely destroy like the brutalness of his fights. It was just insane.
Yeah, like, the way he fought those 2 guys in that room, like I thought he killed them too, but I guess that's yet to be explained. But
yeah, so those pivotal moments for me, I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. But in the parts that I miss, which is more of like the world building, the political stuff, we have Wilson Fisk, who obviously comes out. He gets out of jail and is like going to run for mayor. He gets the signatures he needs, and he's trying to like wheel and deal while his wife Vanessa has been running his empire for him. So we get to see the ins and outs of the underworld that's been happening. Like Kingpin comes in and then just almost derails Vanessa's whole like empire just by showing up, because Vanessa had to deal with it and was controlling the crime families as they go. So I was like, this is going to be quite interesting. And then we get a little back and forth of Matt and Fisk going sort of, what would you call it? A little bit of like a cat and mouse at each other in the diner, where they're like, having like a little back and forth.
Yeah, I don't want to be vigilante anymore, but if you make me, I will. And if you go back into your old, what does he say? If you go back into your old habits or your old ways, there will be consequences or some shit.
Yeah.
Every now and then he comes across very Darth Vader. He's slow, the way he speaks really slow and like drags out his sentences. I don't know, he comes across kind of cartoonish sometimes, but whatever.
Sometimes. I still think he's a fantastic bad guy. He's my favorite character. Easy. Okay. Mine is obviously Daredevil, and Matt, like, there's just the embodiment of like holding it all in and saving people. Like, go Matt.
Go Matt.
Yeah. I loved it. I can't wait to see all the different suits. So in the trailer, we actually got to see all the different Daredevil suits.
Okay.
I'm really excited for that. You get to see, I think we got to see 5 different variants of them. So it's going to be cool.
Does like Iron Man build his suits or anything, or that company? Like, where's he get his suits from?
It's testing my knowledge now. I haven't seen the Netflix series for quite some time.
I have questions that I don't really know where else to ask ChatGPT, I guess, but
that's fair. But yeah, I'm going to be sad not to see Fogarty though as well. It's like, why do you have to die? He needed something. Needed something to.
Well, they needed a reason for Daredevil to be born again, for him to hang up the cape.
Yeah, And then there's also a news company going around, or like a documentary series saying about crime and how safe it is to be in Hell's Kitchen. And they're like, yo, we need Daredevil back, etc. Because he's been gone and crime's gone up. And
a character called BB is interviewing people and such, as a journalist who, I'm not sure what her role is going to be, but I guess, get it, BB? I guess we'll figure out. So I don't know. She's pretty uninteresting so far, but
yeah, they didn't really expand much on her. So I don't know.
Interesting that we're getting marriage counseling between Fisk and his wife.
Yeah, that was a twist. I was like, oh, that's a bizarre.
I like when shows and movies can sort of, mainly shows, I guess, because you get more time, can sort of humanize characters a bit, especially characters like him that are such like over the top like caricatures of like bad guys and what bad guys do. So it's humbling. Reminds me of course, Sopranos, and how we've got this kingpin. Literally, he's called Kingpin, but we've got this fucking crime boss who has to get marriage counseling and break down barriers, and which is fun.
Okay, yeah, like I loved it. I had a fantastic time with it. I would have liked more fight scenes, but it makes sense. Like where they're going with it, they were building towards it. We didn't get super high octane action, but it was like the storytelling. Yeah. I thought the pace was really good. I thought this was a fantastic revival of the Daredevil. I still gives me goosebumps of him like dropping the mask and like just breaking down. I was like, oh my god, this is great. It reminded me of when Spider-Man 2, where Peter gives up the suit. He puts it in the trash can.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
it's a better movie.
Like, well, it's like I get it. I don't know. I resonate with the heroes a lot. It's like, you're trying to do so much, not to like where I'm out there fighting crime and stuff.
No, of course.
But like grinding away, trying to do what you can. It's just like,
So I don't understand. There's two things. I don't really understand his motivations for hanging up the mask. Like if a guy comes and kills your best friend, why is that reason to be like, oh, I can't be Daredevil anymore? Because was it Daredevil's fault that his friend was attacked?
Yeah, so like at the end of season 3, they like sort of, the 3 people got to know who's who. So like this was not a random attack. This attack was like targeted to get at him. And
did Poindexter plan it, or did Fisk plan it? Obviously, we don't know yet.
We don't quite know yet.
Okay.
Yeah. But because they had the massive 3-way fight at the end of season 3, and the mask gets exposed, and that's where they find out who's who. And then obviously they're picking up. This was a bit of like a revenge attack, and it worked. It worked.
Is Elektra still alive? Did she die in Defenders?
From memory, she's still alive. I don't know if she is coming into this though.
Because I know she had some like memory wipe thing in Defenders, and she was part of the hand, or what are they called? The black hand, the evil hand, the something or other.
Yeah.
She was like brainwashed or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, she might come back. I don't know
what I watched. Yeah, look, it's hard. I don't feel fair rating this because it's not for me, and I haven't seen any of the other stuff. I've watched a little bit of season 1 of Daredevil. I honestly got bored because the fights just felt, as much like stylistic as they were, they just felt the same. The formula was just talking, fight scene in a dark hallway or a dark street or a hallway with lights that they then turn off and then it's dark. Like it just felt like the same formula over and over again. I got bored of season 1 Daredevil, but I heard it got better. And I heard that people are saying good things about this if they're connected to it. And like you were saying about Foggy dying, it means something. But watching this, I was like, oh no, his friend died. Like that's sad. Didn't mean much else to me. I honestly forgot that character was even in the first season because I hadn't seen it in so many years.
Yeah.
So it's not for me.
there's-
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of need a rating.
Yeah.
But
look,
yeah, I get it.
like a 3.5. Like obviously it's good and there's things to like about it. But I don't have the connection to the characters to really enjoy it. And in terms of like the fights are stylistic, and I care about the characters somewhat, but I also don't give a shit about a lot of it. Like a lot of the scenes are just characters talking about stuff that they've already discussed. Like I don't think the pacing is that great so far, but it's hard because we've only watched 2 episodes, so you know we always know that the first 2 episodes are just setting things up. So I don't know. It feels like an unfair 3, and I feel like I'm giving a 3.5. I'm being generous because I'm probably giving it the benefit of the doubt that's going to get better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just gonna give it a 3.25 because I literally don't know where I stand.
Fair. Look, I'm super connected to it. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I liked the fight, and I do agree with you that in the Netflix one, all the fights got pretty repetitive. It did get better. Fights did get better as they got further on, but they were only like big pivotal fights, and lots of the time it was the silhouette, the hallway fights. End of season 2, they did start like actually expanding, and then season 3 they did some really cool fight scenes. The first fight scene, absolutely incredible. The apartment fight as well, absolutely incredible. I loved it. I had super emotional connection to Matt giving up and also Fogarty dying. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And the cat and mouse between Matt and Fisk as well. I loved it. I had an absolutely fantastic time with it. It's a easy 4 for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you would be, but yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And I think hooray, Disney had finally won Marvel back, because we have had some rubbish. We have had some rubbish in the old Marvel Cinematic Universe. We had Marvels, we had Miss Marvel. God, that was awful. What have we had? We had WandaVision, which was actually really good. I haven't seen Agatha all the way, but I hear that's quite good as well.
I honestly forget that's Marvel. Hey,
yeah,
I haven't seen it either, but
that's a spin-off from WandaVision, because that's the witch in that one.
I started watching WandaVision, got bored.
Yeah, the first 3
a lot
are
of this stuff. Like, I'm not going to watch any more Daredevil because most of it is boring for me. Like, I
mean, if you don't have the backstory, then yeah.
Yeah, but even when the show was giving me backstory in the beginning, it wasn't. I don't know. I find it hard. Like, any hero thing, I just don't care. Like, heroes win. The end. It's always the way things work out. I don't give a shit about their trials and tribulations of being a hero and saving people's lives. Like, it always just feels like there's no depth to the writing. Unless there's a really interesting bad guy. Like, Jessica Jones season 1 was great because David Tennant was incredible in it, and I loved his power and what he could do with it. And it was more about the mind games than it was about physical fights.
I mean, he would have got smashed in a physical fight. She was super strong.
Well, exactly. And that's what made it interesting. It was brains versus brawn, not just brawn versus brawn. That's why I'm hoping Fisk makes it interesting in this, but I'm not going to watch more to find out. I don't know. It's an unfair rating. Of course. Week. And you'll say it's great, and I'll say, I'm glad you're enjoying it, and then I won't watch it.
You can live vicariously through me.
I can. Yeah. And I can be happy for you, which I will be, and I am.
Hooray. Yeah. I loved it.
Good.
I loved it.
Yeah. I'm honestly glad. I'd be upset if you didn't, because you've been excited for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And now we got Lawson pick.
Yep. Bong Joon-ho. Let's fucking go, because Parasite is amazing. It is Bong Joon-ho. He's back. This is his first director. Jesus Christ. His first movie since Parasite.
First full English one too.
Yeah, true. And everything like that. Yep. I've heard him talk about things about like language and how he is trying to sort of breach barriers in storytelling with how we can tell stories without even using language. So I wouldn't be surprised if he released like a silent film in years to come, or a story with no talking. So this is called Mickey 17. Mickey, our character, is known as an expendable. He goes on dangerous journeys to colonize an ice planet. The basic premise, before I go into the step-by-step, is this character can be, when he dies, his brain is sort of uploaded into a hard drive, I guess. And he can be reborn or sort of printed out again, they call it, with like a 3D printer, and it recreates his body and they upload his brain into it and he relives. He signed on to this program, which I'll get into, and he's more or less, his destiny is to continuously test things and do things so that they can find out information before he dies. The Mickey that we are introduced to at the beginning of the film is Mickey 17, the 17th iteration of Mickey. And he's like in a crevasse on this ice planet they call Niflheim, which is also the name of hell in Norse mythology. And yeah, we introduced him pretty early. This is the 17th, and this is sort of like then we get everything before that is like, you know, this is how I got here sort of thing. We're introduced to Mickey, the first iteration, on Earth, and he and his friend start a macaron business. His friend is played by Steven Yeun, Timo. And Steven Yeun, he's doing great stuff. I'm happy for him. Timo convinces his friend Mickey Barnes that we can make money selling macarons, and Steven Yeun gets a loan from a loan shark, like dodgy dealings, called Darius Blank, and he more or less gets a loan, can't pay it back because macarons don't sell too well, and they are both hunted by this, like, you know, mafia sort of people, and to escape Earth they sign up for this program. Now Mickey's desperate, so he signs on to, without reading anything or finding out more information, he signs on to be an expendable, and everyone's like, are you sure? Like, that sounds, you sure? Like, you read everything? Yeah, I read it. And then he's being led to this room by this woman, and all he can think about is how her hair smells. His mother died when he was a kid, and he sort of takes some blame for that, which I'll get to. And this woman obviously reminds him of his mother. There's a lot of stuff here about mother issues as well. And Mickey signs onto this program. So as part of this this plan, there's this colony of people who are on a space station for 4 years, traveling to a distant planet to colonize it and start a new colony on this new planet. They call it Niflheim. One of my favorite characters, actually probably second most, is Mark Ruffalo's character, Marshall, Kenneth Marshall. He is intentionally, well, Bong Joon-ho has said it's not intentional, but he seems like an intentional caricature of Donald Trump.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't pick that until you said it, but yeah, I felt him more like a talk show host, like Conan O'Brien or that sort of caricature rather than Donald Trump.
Yeah, he's a politician who's lost 2 elections, and therefore he's taking his own colony to fuck you guys, I can do my own thing sort of thing. But yeah, he's very much a showman. He has like these fake teeth in. He's all about outward appearance, and he's very manipulated by his wife, played by Toni Collette, who also does an amazing job. It's very Lady Macbeth relationship, where she's really the puppet master and he's just this dumb, pretty stupid sort of puppet. So yeah, he is more or less the bad guy in the story. So Mickey on his ship, he also falls in love with a girl, played by Naomi Aki. Nasha is her name. Nasha used to be like a Marine or whatever. They fall in love. They're told they can't have sex because it burns too many calories. So they do anyway. And the story sort of follows Mickey Barnes until the point where everyone thinks he's dead, so they create a Mickey 18, and then he gets back, and he is still 17, still alive. Mickey 18 is created, and they have what's called multiples, and multiples are an abomination. That sort of leads us into the rest of the story, and then there's other things that happen. But I've done a lot of talking. Where are we at so far before I continue with the story?
The credit where it's due, Pattinson does an incredible job. I also messaged you today, and I was like, "Did you know that what's his name, John Who was like didn't tell Pattinson which clone he was playing until they actually started shooting, so that they wanted to capture the confusion that each of the clones was going through at that time, which is it's kind of cool. I like that. Cool.
His portrayal's great. Like he totally feels like a different person when he's 17 and 18.
Yeah. When you get further into the story, we'll touch on that as well. But yeah, sure. Ruffalo is incredible. He is super dislikable. I was like, you're just a bumbling idiot, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Same with Toni Collette. Hated her. So absolutely incredible job.
Yeah.
Nasha, I was like, I don't know. Nasha just felt like a convenient sort of plot device where it was like, you're my love interest. Like, I enjoyed some of her scenes, but a lot of the times I was like, that's just kind of convenient.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't get much to do with their romance either, not until sort of towards the end.
No. There were some funny moments, especially when there was two clones.
Yes. There's the whole like lead up to a threesome scene, which is like, come on, if I was cloned, you would want two of me, right? And he's like, 18's down to clown and 17's a bit not okay with it.
Yeah. So, yeah, keep going.
Mention Mark Ruffalo as well, real quick. He reminded me a lot of his character in Poor Things. Like he's just so over the top and ridiculous that he's like, this is a dark comedy like Poor Things is. This is like properly hilarious at times. Well, I found anyway. And his character's so great. I can't believe how much I'm liking Mark Ruffalo, considering he was such a nothing actor to me prior.
Was it more? I couldn't work out if it was meant to be like just a dark comedy, or if it was meant to be a parody, or if it was meant to be like satire, like the entire way through. Like,
well, that's Bong Joon-ho. Like, he does blend genre a lot.
He bounced a bit. Where like Parasite, I was like, okay,
Parasite's very like this story is about this. Yeah. Whereas there was sort of lines blurred a little bit, which I think I preferred in some ways. But Parasite's a better movie. Don't get me wrong. Parasite's a fucking 5 out of 5. This isn't quite there. I'll get to the end for sure.
Yeah. So even the explanation of the cloning machine, I was like, oh, okay. It was like made by a serial killer who. I was like, what? Why is it made by a serial killer who was like cloning people and then
it was made by a psychopath, and his clones became serial killers. And that was to tell us that when you clone, it's a different person. Like it changes the brain a little bit. They're not the same iteration of every time, because it's not a clone, it's a printer. And I think it's a really important distinction when it comes to like mortality and who the person is.
Yeah, but they say like your memories are in there. So I don't know.
But I think it's different, because when you clone someone, you're literally transporting their consciousness from one to the next. When someone dies and then their brain is re-imported onto a new body, I don't think that counts as transferring the consciousness. In my brain, one person is dead. Like, it doesn't change the fact that he has died. And now, different to, what's that movie with Tom Cruise where he would die and then he would just wake up alive again.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, sure. Where this isn't like that to me. This is.
I get it, but if they're printing a person, if they're printing a body that is designed off of that person, even though the brain makeup and stuff, and they're saying they're importing the same memories into that person. Yes, like if enough time had passed, they might develop their own mannerism stuff. But if you're importing and printing the same identical structure of that person and putting the same memories into it, yes, it's not the same person, but logically, in my mind, that would still be technically the same person. But
it raises the question, are we a product of memories and experience, or are we a product of our experiences in life? Like, if you're just born a brand new person, but we input Reimann's memories in your brain, does that make you Reimann? Or does that make you a different person with Reimann's memories? That's
a different person, because you would not have the same genetic makeup as me, though. Like, your brain would not fire off the same way that mine does.
So does a twin. So does a twin. Twin has the same genetic makeup as an identical twin.
Yes, but they still go through their own memories and their own experiences. So, like, even if
one twin goes brain dead, and the only way to keep him alive is to impart the memories of the other twin into that twin, are they then the same person?
Yeah, no, because they went through different things than each other.
Not internally. That's their memories.
Yeah, but if they 3D printed me exactly at this moment, and then somehow get my brain, my thoughts, and everything completely identical with the same neurons firing.
There's only memories.
And just across it. Yeah, but how are they printing him? Why are they? So is it a brand new brain each time?
Yes.
Because they're 3D printing it, though.
Printing everything. All they're doing is transferring memories. They're not transferring consciousness. They're transferring memories.
Yeah, but
that's the distinction.
What's the pattern that they're printing from?
The body.
Yeah. So if
cloning the body.
Yeah, if that exact body was then cloned and then put into there, and then that consciousness at that same time. So you've taken my pattern
not consciousness,
at this moment.
It's memories.
Yeah. So if I died now, and then you 3D printed me and then put my memories in that, you would technically still be, you'd be me, because you'd be 3D printing the exact version of me and putting my memories into that person. Technically, that is me if my body still works identically across. Yeah.
But we see in Mickey 17 and 18 that, like, even though they have the same memories, 17 blames himself for his mother's death and all the bad things happen in his life and whatever. Whereas 18's like, I'm not responsible for those things. It's not my fault those things happened. It sucks they happened to me, but it's not my fault those things happened. Like, it's how we often in schools we'd see kids with very similar lifestyles at home, with broken families and violent parents, whatever. And then we see some kids who use that as an excuse to get away with bullshit, and some kids who use that as a reason to want to excel and improve themselves. They're not the same memories, they're the different people, I get it, but that's what this is sort of exploring, is that our memories don't define us as people.
I'm just logically in my brain, you've 3D printed him at that exact moment and you've put his memories in, you would technically still be the same person.
Okay. Where I'm saying your personality is not decided by your memories or lived experiences. Your personality is more than just what you remember and what you experience.
So technically, he would only have his memories, and then he wouldn't be able to walk then, because it's a fresh body. You 3D printed. You're saying it's not the same person. You're saying it's not. But he's 3D printed, and all his neurons would be firing exactly the same way because
memory is. I remember how to walk. I remember how to eat food.
And he remembers how to act. How does a memory change that? I don't understand how it would change him though, because you are 3D printing him identically as he is. Your motor neurons still fire off exactly the same. Your memories are then in there. Everything identically runs exactly the same as it did previously. I don't understand how there's two different ways, unless they have somehow genetically modified him in the printer and then it's warped the way the neurons fire. Then yes, then technically he would be slightly different, which would make him a different person. But if they 3D printed him and he had the exact same neurons firing in his brain, he would be exactly the same, which makes no sense why 17 and 18 are different. But they didn't explain that. They did not say that the motor neurons are firing differently. They were saying they cloned him exactly as they were. They 3D printed him, so his motor neurons should be firing exactly the same, and he has his memory, so he should be identical as he is every time.
I still disagree. That's not how.
That's how it works.
No, but it's not. I don't think
It is.
in philosophy and in like human psychology, we are not a product of memories.
No, but if you 3D print my body with my same neurons and then you put my memories in there, I'm going to fire exactly the same. Because I remember this moment. I'll be having this same argument when you 3D print me.
But if we swapped memories, I'm not going to become this confident macho man where I want to go fucking lift things and not be good at art.
Yeah, because you don't have the same neurons. You'd be going, what in the hell am I living in here?
Okay.
Different.
I don't think that memories and personality are the same thing.
I know. My whole thing is that they have 3D printed him exactly the same way. So his motor neurons and everything he's firing the same. So he should be identical to as he was at that point in time.
So there's a major theme in this film that you have a problem with. Because that to me is a big part of why I love this movie and what it discusses and talks about and consciousness and what makes a human and all that.
And this is why I had a whole problem with 18 and 17.
With them being different personalities because they should be exactly the same.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I reckon you tell we're not going to enjoy this movie or not have an enjoyment of this movie.
Just not saying that. I'm just saying this is a logical thing that I could not get my head around.
Okay.
Because they didn't explain. They didn't explain why it went. Each and every model was slightly different. Because I went and looked it up, and apparently the only person who was able to notice that they were slightly different, everyone else thought it was exactly the same person because they just saw him as like a low-life citizen because that's how they saw the Expendables because they're expendable. Was what's her name? Nasha. It was like because she spent all that time with him and they was the love interest and they, canoodled and did all the things. They were slightly different each time. So it's like, like, I get it. You tried to explain it, but again, you 3D printed the exact same neurons and the exact same memories went into that body. So no, it's the same person. Yep.
But then if I'm not going to go much. This is my last point. If there's two versions of you, are you the same person?
Did you exactly firing off the same person? At that point in time of creation, yes, I am the same person. If time had passed and this other person is this other me.
It has different new memories. I understand.
So there's two people. There's me and we're going to call him Reimann 2. And Reimann 1 runs and operates exactly the same as Reimann 2 at this exact moment. Yeah. I send Reimann 2 to work, so I don't have to do it. And Reimann 1 gets to do all the bits and pieces. And Reimann 2 goes, I've got all these new experiences. I'm going to have to adapt and overcome these different ones. Reimann 1 and Reimann 2 are going to become different people because Reimann 2 and Reimann 1 are getting different experiences where not that much time had changed where they were like 18 was super confident, 17 was reserved and more of an introvert. Doesn't work.
Okay. Sure thing. All right.
Yep.
Right. Disagree. As soon as there's two of me, we are different people.
Nope. At that point in time of creation.
When my life ends, so if we both are being repetitively cloned, say this, we're up 17 and 18. We're on Lawson 17 and Lawson 18. If I'm Lawson 17 and Lawson 18 is next to me, if Lawson 17 dies, what happens to Lawson 17's consciousness?
17's? Well,
say there is a 19 and say they clone another one.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't need 17 because 18 is then the one that is still alive and his consciousness would be the one that has passed over. So 17 would be remembered only in 18's mind and then it would be passed there. But because
so 17 would have a finite consciousness. So
because
therefore,
he's the one that's still alive.
His person, he dies. So that's the end of that person.
Yeah, but because they believed he was dead, those changes had not gone. So he was technically still the same person because I'm assuming he was still alive. So his consciousness never went back to the original one. So they were going off of the default at that point in time. So they technically would have been not exactly the same, but they should have been at a starting point. What had happened to make 18 an extrovert or like a confident, out there going person, where 17 was still an introvert. Where's the timeline? Where's the separation between those two? How did they have the different experiences to be going, you're now super confident, you're super like assured of yourself, you're out there, you're extroverted, you're able to do these things, to do an assassination, where the other one was like, no, I'm introverted, I wouldn't do that. Where are those distinctions? What happened to that person? Not enough time had been shown for them to be completely different people in terms of their standard default that is being 3D printed with those memories that are currently in 17 and 18's mind.
But my argument is going to be what I'm going to make an argument, and I know what your response is going to be, and then I know my response will be, and we're going to go on a loop. So we'll end it. We'll end this conversation here because we're not going to agree to disagree here.
No.
Because once one dies, fuck it. I'm not gonna bother. So then, Mickey 18 wants to kill Mark Ruffalo's character, and he goes and takes a gun, and goes to kill him because this guy is nothing but bad news, and Mickey 18 is hellbent and violent. He also tries to kill Mickey's only friend, who's a fucking piece of shit, Timo. Or Timo.
Wow, what happened to him? Where's his memories? Why is he so aggressive? Why is Aiden aggressive? What made him aggressive?
Because Timo's a piece of shit.
Why isn't 17?
Because he's a different person. I'm not gonna fucking go down this road again. He's a different person.
What memories has he got?
They both see him, but Mickey 17 sees him as his only friend, and that his memories, he looks at all the good things, whereas Mickey 18 looks back at their relationship and sees all the bad things. It's how different people can experience life differently. I'm not going to go down this fucking road again. I thought we moved past this.
Go on.
So, pulls a gun out while Ruffalo's doing this big speech about how they're gonna fucking carve their name into this rock they found, and the creepers come out. And now we're introduced to the creepers prior to this. It's why Mickey 17 lived in the first place. Is what they think the people on the civilization think that he's killed by these creepers, these monsters, these aliens in their eyes. But in fact, he was saved by them, and the creepers are actually quote unquote good. But intelligent is the point. They're not just mindless worms. So anyway, to cut it short,
dog worms.
Yeah, they're cute as fuck. I want a creeper pet. I love them. So fucking Mickey's saved by the creeper. No one knows that. He tells Nasha. They end up getting arrested because Mickey 18 tries to shoot Mark Ruffalo and it doesn't happen. They get more or less imprisoned. Tony Collette's there like trying to kill them. There's like a whole dinner scene with this other girl as well I won't bother getting to right now. And Act 3 is Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 as part of their like prison sentence, you know, who lives, who dies. They get sent out to the worms who are all gathering, to the creepers who are all gathering because they've got one of the creepers in their base. And they've got a little translator, and he goes out there and starts talking to the creepers. And he talks like the head creeper, who's like the biggest one. And he says, you know, what's the plan here? And it's like, if you kill my baby, then I'll kill all of you, and we can all scream and blow up your heads. And they start screeching and make your eyes pop, they say. So they have a big conversation. Mark Ruffalo's character is like, I should be the one fucking negotiating diplomacy with these aliens. And he zooms out. Mickey 18 has a bomb on him. And Ruffalo's character has like the thing on his arm, very Hunger Games.
Yeah, because they were sent out because they wanted the tails for Source.
Yes, there's a whole analogy with Source. Tony Collette's character's obsessed with Source, which is like a class distinction. You know, Source is like it's a privilege. You know, if you were living in poverty, you wouldn't be adding sauce to food, you'd just be fucking eating. So it's like a class thing again, bit like Parasite. And And the movie ends with Mickey 18 blowing up him and Mark Ruffalo, Toni Collette's character killing herself in prison, and Nasha becoming like she's like elected into leadership. And they live on this planet, Niflheim, they coexist with the native creepers, they call them. So right at the end, there's a dream that Mickey 17 is having before he blows up the cloning machine and realizes his mortality. And the dream is Toni Collette's character being alive and cloning Mark Ruffalo. And it's symbolic of Nasha. It's the fear that Nasha will become the next tyrant and that she might become just as politically corrupt and whatever, because ultimate power turns anyone into this corrupt monster. There's so many layers to this that I think if you just watched for face value, which is how you watch movies, you would have...
Whoa.
Well, it is. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, you are. Yeah, I'm a sophisticated man.
Okay, my apologies.
I sometimes have sauce on my rice.
You do have sauce on your rice, yeah. That makes you sophisticated. My bad.
Sometimes. I have White Valley, the barbecue Chipotle sauce. Thank you.
Sriracha. I know you enjoy your sriracha.
Oh yeah, I do. I love sriracha. And Ryman too would like sriracha too, because we'd be printed the same.
Probably would, because you have the same memories.
See.
Memories aren't personality. We're not going this fucking road again. What do I like? It's filmed fucking beautifully. I think I've heard people say the color palette's mute, but it's fucking meant to be. Like they're on this space station, which I think is realistic in the fact they wouldn't have like decorations and whatever. But then when you see Toni Collette and Mark Ruffalo's like cabin, it's gorgeous. It reminds me so much of the Fallout universe in the vaults, how like the overseers, the bosses, would have these gorgeous fucking overdone quarters, and everybody else lives in, metal walls and whatever. I think it's fucking great. They're on an ice planet, for fuck's sake. What colors do you want on an ice planet? Like, Jesus. I think the music's really interesting. Again, reminds me a little bit of Poor Things. Some interesting instruments at times. Pretty clever. But there's a lot of commentary on mortality and class and social structure, about the idea of, again, not that you agree with this, but the idea of like what defines a person. Is it memories or is it consciousness? And also about like body autonomy, and there's a lot of stuff on this about like, do you still get to control your body if you signed a contract? Talking about like, women in performance industries and stuff as well, which is interesting. There's a lot to fucking unpack in this movie, and I'm really excited to watch it again.
Yeah.
I've just talked a lot about this movie.
Look, I think I agree with you on most points. It's pretty good, shot pretty well. I came into it thinking that it was probably going to be more of a comedy and more outlandish than it actually was, because the trailers sold it as more of like a absolutely ridiculous sort of showcase, because they showed a lot of the Pigeon Man, like this guy randomly in a pigeon suit, and then and then the trailer showed like lots and lots of those sort of like dumb ways to die, where it just kept showing it. Look, I think they did a really good job with all the deaths. Like, it was a good way to show Mickey in all these different situations, experiencing these different things. I did get bogged down on why 17 and 18 were different, but like we've had this argument. I think if they were exactly the same, you wouldn't have the same storytelling. Like, it wouldn't be as interesting, I guess, because the conflict between the two is what sort of is the catalyst of all the sort of moving parts that move the story along. So I get why it's there. I just don't agree with it. I think the ins and outs of like how he weaves the characters in each other's lives, like how Timo is in, and then he has to like sort of live and the whole wrap up with the court case and seeing how it's all going, it did feel at the ending that it was a little bit like, oh, here's a sort of happy ending where it was like, oh, Nasha became on the council and I get to live and press the button and we sort of like live a happy sort of ever after-y kind of, where it was like it I don't know, with the amount of like things that were going on, it just felt like having a nice wrapped happy-ish ending was kind of like, oh, okay, where they like live with the creepers and the whatnot. I was like, okay, you get to communicate with it. Like a few things seemed a little bit convenient where it was like, oh, they saved me, and it was like, why'd you save me? Secret. And they bug off, and then he's like, oh, I'm able to talk to you and there's got to be a death. And I was like, there's a few things that were a little bit convenient, but like it didn't take away from the enjoyment of the film. Like I still think it was enjoyable. I just came into this with such high hope after like Parasite, because Parasite was incredible.
Of course.
Like your second film is always going to, it's going to be hard to live up to that, really. Like
whatever comes after that,
Like,
and I think that's what's thieving a lot of joy out of this movie. Is a lot of people are like, oh, it's not as good as Parasite. It's like, yeah, it doesn't need to be.
But look at like
it's its own thing.
Jordan Peele got the same sort of treatment where it was like,
it's dumb because Nope is better than Get Out.
Nope.
It is. I'm not going down this road again.
See, like,
this is a 3-year argument between you and I.
Yeah. So like, I agree with most of your points. I got bogged down in a few things. I think it was shot really well. It flowed really well. It was 2 hours and 8 minutes.
2:10, I think. Yeah.
Credits wrapped around then. Like, it didn't feel like that. I was engaged for most of it. There were, at the ending, I lost a little bit of interest where it was just the creepers like doing hide the queen or whatever it was.
Sure. Yeah.
I was kind of, oh, okay. And then
the end for me, from when they're arrested and they're in the room with Toni Collette and they got their hands bound and everything, from then on, it felt just sort of rushed and weird from the rest of the movie. It almost felt like its own separate, like almost like a weird sequel. That to me was the part where I was like, okay, I'm a little less engaged here because what I've really been enjoying is the relationship between 17 and 18, and sort of the relationship between the idea of mortality and cloning and whatever else. And then we go into this like diplomatic alien story, reminds me of like Ender's Game, being the invasion species, some Avatar stuff there as well. I don't know. It felt weird. That's probably my biggest problem with this, and the reason why it's not like a 5 or even close. Well, it's close, but it's not 5, 4.5. It's trying to do maybe too much. If this was maybe like 3 hours, I know you probably liked it less, but I think they could have fleshed out some ideas more, or make it the same length but remove some of it, not remove some of it, but change some of trying to keep the themes down rather than going crazy into. Because the last half an hour was talking about like invasions and what decides an alien and who's right and who's wrong in a colonizing species and what is terra nullius and all these other things where it's like that wasn't even mentioned for the first hour and a half.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate because, I still think it's good though. Still think it's
great.
Good. It just lost its way slightly, but whatever. I still enjoyed it. Still debating whether it's like a 3 or 3.5. I think it deserves a 3.5.
Sure.
I think it's a 3.5. I think the acting's great. I think the interweaving of all the different characters and their sort of like lives and everything. But yeah, it did lose its way, so I'm taking a half a point off. Otherwise, it would have been a 4 if they like nailed the ending as well. But it's a 3.5.
Yeah. I think nailing the ending would have made it like a 4.5 for me. I'm at a 4. I think it's I think it's really good for what it is, and I'm looking forward to rewatching it with a different lens and sort of understanding more about some of the characters and their motivations at the end, and being able to sort of see that journey better. Yeah. You know me, I love watching things a second time and understanding the themes better and picking apart more.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna backtrack a little, and I'm gonna give Daredevil a 3.5, because I think realistically, not being for me isn't the show's fault, and it deserves some more credit. So, also intentionally creating a draw out of the week, because if I won this week, it probably would have pretty much set up. Like I would have been 3-1 up. The best you could get with 3 versus 3, and my average is higher.
Sure.
Oh, no, yeah. So the point is, ran another draw this week. But I think realistically that's fair, because Daredevil's very much for you.
Yep.
And Mickey 17 is very much for me. It's a fucking Black Mirror episode, you know?
Yeah. I figured, I knew Daredevil was going to be a hard sell. Like, but it was like, I was keen for it, so I had to
But it
roll
deserves
the
more
dice.
credit than... It's not its fault that I'm not into it. And like, you're better at recognizing, you know, this isn't for me, but it's still very good than I am sometimes. So,
yeah.
That's fair.
Well then. It's a draw.
It's
good. Good episode.
Yep.
A little bit of banter, a little bit of disagreements. Still, we're
It's
never
a long
ever.
episode. I might cut down that massive rant between us. I might just cut that down to like a few of the best bits.
I don't think so. I think that needs to stay.
You reckon? Oh fuck.
Yeah.
That was like 20 minutes of us arguing about memories and consciousness.
Oh yeah, and then get around it.
Oh fuck.
Oh, yep. But you know what to do. If you listen on Spotify, give a 5-star rating. I had a hectic week, so I forgot about the Apple podcast one, but hopefully we'll get to that very, very soon.
Sure.
And listen on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you agree with me with the consciousness or Lawson with the consciousness. And yeah, we know what we asked you to do. Tell your friends. Tell them all.
Tell your friends.
And we'll see you guys next time. Boys.
Love yous.